Hello YouTube, thank you for tuning in. About a month or 2 months ago I loaded up the new looking 2 by 4 by 6 cube I have. The Kelvin's puzzle are modified to this shape. If you haven't seen it, go and have a look. It looks exactly the same. Of course there's nothing much to say about it, but I said I will come up with a tutorial how to solve this. There is quite a few various different tutorials up there regarding how to do this and using cuboid algorithms and some parities and so many different cases. If this happens we do that, if that happens we do this. By all means, yes, they work, and of course you have to learn different cases and how to solve them. I feel it's such a fraud when I use somebody else's techniques and follow, well, like an instruction step by step to solve it. I feel like I haven't achieved it myself, so I decided to have a go at solving it myself. By all means, I can't say all of this was me. Of course, I've learned methods from others, adapted, changed, and used different strategies mostly to solve this. And I find out you can solve one of these, but basically if you know how to do a 2 by 2, 3 by 3 standard solves. If you can solve a 4 by 4, especially the parity case when it switches these two, they're the wrong way around and needs to switch them around and flip them. You need to know that algorithm for my method, or you can learn it in this video. Then you can solve this. The only new things which will happen on this is the centers. Of course, the center there, the 4 original centers are easy enough to change. That it comes with standard. Any more than 4 by 4 cubes, when you swap the centers you can solve with that one. Is the 2 end ones. I come up with a really cool technique that you can solve those, but I will show you that when we come to it. Okay, enough of talk, let's start with this one. I've mixed this so many times, and sometimes it comes out really good mix, sometimes it doesn't, and I've come up, watching various different videos and learned how others mix this. I came up with that. Originally, when you're mixing this, of course, you need to remember to mix this as a 180. Always 180 degree mixes. It doesn't matter how you mix this, as long as you keep it 180 degrees and mix it in all axes. So you have that, and those 3 axes mixed up. I try to make sure these are separated, and like that. If they are separated, and then we'll come up with other things. We'll come back to those, get those separated out, and when you, after a few mix, of course it doesn't matter that all of them are completely mixed up, but if you can try to keep them separated, it's, well, you get a more satisfaction as a solve, because it's a harder solve. So we're looking at this thinking, okay, I'm done, I'm pretty much happy. They're all separated, them are all separated, and the centers are separated. In this point I've done that. Let's start mixing it by 4 by 4. Now what that means is we'll keep this as 4 and keep them as 4, and still hold it that way. So I'll just make a 90 degree there and mix that. In this point, it doesn't matter how you mix these things and how many times you switch these and how it goes. All I'm trying to do is keep the long and the short ones separated. So these are together. I will try to switch those so they do get separated. As much as more of these are mixed up, better solution you get. If you look at those now, in here they're all the same, so let's swap them around. Let's see how much of these you can switch around. As you can see, I'm still keeping it straight, but what I'm trying to do is a bit too close maybe. Let me see if we can get a bit further there. So I've got more or less most of them separated, as much as I'm gonna do. So in that case, now I've got a 4 by 4 mix. Now I'm gonna go to layer level, which is a 2. So I'm gonna stand it up like this, and then do it as a 2 by 2 by 6. If that makes any sense. If you're not so sure, just if you've never done a 2 by 2, well, personally I haven't, but that's how you refer to. What basically means I will treat the top as a 2, so it can do either 90 degrees or 180 degrees, but then only they get mixed that way around. So all of my left, right, front and back are 180, but the top, bottom and the middle one can be 90 degrees solves, mixes. After that's done a few times and I'm happy with that one, then I can go to a 2 by 2 mix, which is basically that. And we're doing that, hopefully we'll get a very good mix. And that is how you mix 2 by 4 by 6. Right, so now we've got this mixed. Let's solve this. I always like to flatten up as much as you can, make it in some sort of, so get some of the bandaging. As you can tell, most of these things are bandaged, you can't much do with it. So if you solve it like a 2 by 2, we'll take some of the bandaging out. The only purpose of solving it by 2 by 2 is take the bandaging out. Now if you can keep the 2 by 2 solve in place throughout, of course it'll be easier to the end, but then you have to remember that every movement you do, every what they call positioning that you want to put in place, you have to undo to keep the 2 by 2 solve. If you mix that up, you have to use a cuboid algorithms to correct what you have undone, basically. Right, now I've got a black and blue, so that's blue, so this side has to be green. I've got the black and green, so if I turn that opposite way around there, that's opposite side, so it has to be up here, and I'll put it in. I'm not going to talk through how I solve a 2 by 2. If you don't know how to solve a 2, you should have to go and have a look, or well, it's not like you shouldn't be doing this. You can, of course, you can start in any cube, but it's simpler to get the principles on an easier cube. And then come on second, black, we've got the blue, so the blue has to go up there. To put that up there, turn it down and push it back up. And I've got another black to go there, so if I look at my black, it's here. So I'll turn that underneath the location it's supposed to be. The green and green match, so down, across and up. That's got my first 4 corners done, and the edges are matched, so that's fine. So turning upside down, I need to do my yellows on top. These 2 are right, them 2 need to be turned. So if I want to turn those, I can rotate that way around, rotate that way around, and they'll be facing up. So let's do that. Again, I have slightly different method to other people. There's a various different ways of solving the 2 by 2. Doesn't really matter how you solve it, as long as it's done. So now I've got my yellows in place. I'm looking at the 2 edges only. Either none of these are matched. So if they're not matched, they need to be switched places for the match. And just like a 2 by 2, to switch them, there's an algorithm. You can use cuboid algorithm, you can use all sorts of wonderful methods to solve this thing or put them in place. Now I'm looking at the 2 reds are matched. Now I need to match these 2. And for that one, it goes down, 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 back twice, up, up and down, back twice, and put that in, and that will correct those. If I turn it, now I have my 4 corners in place. So my white, well, my 2 by 2 is solved. Now it's coming back to stage of taking these down. Now I'm glad that happened. See, these are one way, that's the same way, and that's the opposite. So this does happen. It's not a big deal, but it does happen. So how to solve these? Various different combinations of these can happen. I'm not gonna go through every variation because I'm not that good. Let's all be honest. I'm not that good to be able to set up for every one of them, but the main principles I followed watching Twisty Puzzling. He's a very good tutorial, and Super Antonio Vivaldi has a very good step-by-step how to do this. These two guys, geniuses, as good as they are, they're brilliant and on how to explain things, how to set things up. So if you want to see various different types, by all means go and have a look. But these things, I looked at those, got the strategies, and applied them to mine. They call these up. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them up. I need to twist this around somehow, but because it's a wrong way direction, it takes too complicated to do it. So what I will do, I will just twist this to make sure the 3 of them are lined up together. And if the 3 are lined up together, I can just flatten them down. Of course, by flattening those down, I'll put 1 up. That's fine. That's not a great deal because now I have only 2 and need to match these 2 together. Now to do that, I will take one of them off so they're in different layers. And if they are in different layers, all I need to do is turn one of them so it's on opposite layer to this one and turn it 180 degrees. That'll bring you up. Now don't forget, talking about 2x2, I need to turn that back so my 2x2 solve is still intact. Now I have only 2 of them up. So now 2 of them up, I need to take these down. To take these 2 down is very much like that. If you remember, let me just set that up. And we had a 2x2 parity that we used to do for a 4x4. If you haven't done a 4x4, I will give you the algorithm as we go along. But it's good to be able to learn those first. On a parity case of 4x4, we had something like this. This is the same case. What it is, they need to go up and they need to go down. Of course, with the laws of cube, you cannot just switch 2. So what it does, it turns this around and flips them. So I'm going to switch these 2 around and flip them down. Okay, and let's show you the algorithm on that, and then we'll apply it to this. So for this one, we're starting from a right center one. That's 180 degrees, back 180 degrees, top 180 degrees. That brings it up front. Then down 90, up 180. That's the first layer done. Now we're starting on the second one. So right down 180, right up 180. That's the second stage. Last one, starting from the front. Front 180, right up. Front 180, left up. Back 180 and right 180. That will cure it. Oop, there. Okay, so let's do it on this and see how that will work. So in this case, because these are going all the way to the core, so this is my front, yeah, that's my back, that is my right inner. So let's start in from there. So right inner 180, back 180, up 180, left down. Okay, so that's the first step. Now the second one, top 180, right down, top 180, right up, and top 180. That's the second one. Now we're starting from the front. Front 180, right up, front 180, left up, back 180, and right 180. And as you can tell, they are being flattened down. In this point, if you look at them, there is nothing on there and nothing on there. So that's sorted out. Now we need to sort these out. Again, check by right, your 2x2 still should be solved and intact, nothing mixed up with that one. Now, how are we going to do this? Now, this is the bit that you need some cuboid algorithm to swap these things down. You can do it without, but if you do it without, these solutions will be mixed and you still have the cuboid algorithm to put them back. So if you have to use 2-qubit algorithm, might as well play it that way. So if I move that up, just a twist 180, I can see these two are intact. They're long ones. The long one should go with the long edges. That's short there. And the short one should go. So I need to switch these two. To switch these two is a adjacent edge swap. So adjacent edge swap started with. Now I'm gonna do that slowly and step by step. Hopefully you'll follow it or make notes of it, and you can check it out after. So 180, 90 on top, 180, another 90 on top, 180, 180 on top, another 180, 180 on top, 180, 90 on top, 180, 90 back on top, and 180. Now that, as you can tell, these got swapped around. Now of course, what was my setup? It was that one down there. So if I turn that back to where it was, my 2x2 solve will come back, and of course they've been replaced. Now I'm having a look at, I've got a pair here. So all I need is another block like that, which is there. So they two need to be switched around again. So if I hold it that way around, this time around, let's do it that way. So adjacent edge swap, one more time, starting always from right. 180, 90, 180, 180, 180, 180, 180, 90, 180, 90 back, and 180. I think I messed up here something. I must have 180, and yes, I have messed up. How did I do that? It's a good question. And my 2x2 solve is gone. I made a mistake, so I would ignore that last algorithm. Please. Let's have a look. See where I've gone wrong. If I put that, and I'll come back. Yes, sorry. There. That's right. Didn't replace these two, so I messed up on that one. So let's start again. I'm switching the two edges. So starting from right, 180, 90 on top, 180, another 90 on top, 180, 180 on top, 180, 180 on top, 180, 90 on top, 180, 90 back, 180. That will swap it. Yes, what I had messed up on a second root, the 290s up top need to be done twice. I missed that one out. That's why it didn't work. My apologies. Right, so now I've got these sorted. I've got an odd bit there, an odd bit there, an odd bit there, and another one there. So there's four of them. Of course, there's four of them. We need to swap them around. Let's pair them up as much as we can to be able to switch it around. So what I'm going to do, if you look at that long one, I need to match this with one of these, or match those with one of them. How are we going to do that? If I put this there, which is on opposite direction. No. Let me think about this for a second. To match them two, we can. They are the opposite ends. So if I turn that, it will not match this. If I twist it, it'll be on the same side, but it won't come back. So these are not corresponding points. These are not corresponding. This corresponds with one of them, and that corresponds with that one. So of course the idea is to turn them to be able to match together and then swap them. But these two don't correspond together. They are the same type, let's say, because there's a left and a right hand edge. They're the both right or they're both left. So what we need to do is switch these two together. If I switch these two together, this one will come here, will match that, and that will go there, will match this one here. So let's swap these two. Edge swap was 180, 90, 180, another 90, 180, 180, 180, another 180, 180, and 90, 180 and 90 back, and 180. That will swap them around. Okay, now if you look, they are aligned together, which is great. I need to switch these, so if I turn that 180 degrees, it'll align with that one. You see how the whole thing cures out with this? Now I need to match that with that. So if I twist that 180 degrees, it brings it on the opposite side, and then twist it up. And of course bring that back so my 2x2 solve stays intact. And that will bring them two together. Now I need to switch these two. To switch them and bring it up right next to each other. So now I can do another adjacent edge swap. Right, 180, 90, 180, 90, 180, 180, 180, another 180, 180, 90, 180, 90, back, 180. Now, because we did the positioning, I put the position back, keeps my 2x2 solve and is back into cuboid shape. So this is how you take it back into cuboid shape. I hope it was helpful. They are more complicated, they can come up with more complicated versions of it, but the strategies are the same. You just play around, is as they call it, see how it goes. Right, it's already been 20 minutes, so I'm going to take a break for a few minutes and come back and show you how to solve it from here. Thank you very much for watching. There'll be another video coming up straight after this.